Hi guys, it's Judy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm coming at ya with another houseplant video. Today's video is just gonna be, I'm gonna go around and update you guys on some houseplants and show you the new growth that is coming through. It's spring, which means a lot of my plants are busting out with some brand new growth and not just like ticking along, actually busting out with some brand new growth, and this makes me really excited, so I wanted to share it with you guys. It's gonna be a pretty casual talk through video. I haven't done one of these in a while. I feel like my last few videos have been a little bit more sit down, talk about stuff kind of videos, and now I just want to go through and show you guys some houseplants. So let's go and enjoy some brand new growth. This is really exciting for me and I hope you guys find it exciting too. And I just want to update you on what's going on. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to start here in my lounge room with this silver sword philodendron. It's getting so tall, it's growing on that pole. This one didn't actually stop growing new leaves through the winter at all, but now it's really taking off. So there is some sheaths there. I don't think that's not a new leaf, no, but that one is. That's a new leaf. And that's a new leaf. Now I've found that these philodendrons, these types that grow out of like these leaf sheaths, they kind of sometimes get really stuck. They look like Cinderella's foot trying to push out of that, you know, in the cartoon. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but if you know, you know, okay? So sometimes they get stuck and that's what happens, like the leaf comes out damaged. So sometimes I give it a little mist with some water to help it unfurl, just to like lubricate it a bit better to help it unfurl. But this one's coming out nice and straight. That one just came out last week. Didn't even take that long. But look at this new leaf. It's a little bit paler. It hasn't quite hardened off yet because it is a fairly new one. But look how big it is. It's as big as my hand. Let's see, what else have we got on this? Not much else, but it's just getting bigger, bigger and bigger. Like not that long ago, I feel like it was half the size of that pole. All right, I've got a lot to update you on. So let's move along to this pink princess. I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with this plant. It's kind of just like, eh. Look, there's a new leaf coming through there. That's what I was talking about with the Cinderella foot. It's just kind of cramped in there, in that leaf sheath. I need to mist that one to give it a little bit of help to come out. But I don't want to try and pull it out or help it, like manually pull it out, because I've broken off a leaf doing that before. I think I broke one off this one. But that's all right. Look, there's a new leaf coming through there already. So that's okay. Plants like to get cut. It promotes new growth on other areas of it, so it's okay if they get cut. All right, let's move along. Here is a ficus that I am plant sitting for a friend while they're in between houses. Here is that Cantia palm that I've revived in one of my houseplant hospital videos. Not really any update on it. That new leaf is kind of just like there. Not much happening with it, but it's not declining, so that's good. Ooh, here's my bird of paradise. Let's move it away from the window so it's a better lighting. Oh, look at that. New leaf coming through. And there's another new one there as well. This is really exciting. I haven't actually looked at this plant in a while because I've just been so busy. Life is hectic, you guys. That's pretty exciting. Haven't seen that before. It's getting so big. So big. All right, here's my Ficus benjamina. It just kind of slowly grows, like because it's so, like the nature of the leaves are so dainty and small, like I don't really notice when there's new leaves coming through. You have to look really closely, like at that tiny little leaf point there, and there's tiny little leaf points here. So it kind of just like slowly grows in size and height without me even noticing. It just gets bigger, and it loves the window here. Like it gets bright indirect light all day long. Loves the window. Here is my ponytail palm. There is a lot of new growth coming out the middle, and I see that because of that paler green coming through in the center there. That's all new growth. A bit of paler green coming in the center there. When I got this, it was like incredibly root bound, and then I put it in a little bit of a bigger pot, and now it's started to take off with that growth in the middle there. So exciting, so beautiful. I don't know if I really have much more, anything like super exciting to update you guys on with the plants here in my living room. So let's move along to my dining room. Okay, so this isn't quite my dining room, but this Monstero was in the corner in my dining room. I moved it out of there because it was just getting way too big for the corner that it was in. So I had it tied up this pole, and it was a lot more compact and together, but I had to let it loose because it was looking kind of choked, and it's actually looking kind of sad at the moment, and I'm between two minds of whether to cut it back at the nodes and create a whole new plant, or just continue to let it grow up a larger pole and just like leave it there in the center of my living room. I don't know, it's my house, it feels like it gets smaller by the day the bigger my plants get. I need a bigger house. Anyway, so I know I need to repot it. Like the soil mix that this is in is kind of old and tired, but I need to repot it out of that. That's going to be a job and a half in itself, because look at how big this plant is. I'll probably do that in another whole video of its own. But as you can see here, the leaves aren't looking too crash hot. Like, they're big and they're still green. It's not like they're dying off or anything, but it's definitely not looking as vibrant as it could, as I know it would if I had it in a pot of better soil. But that's a job for another day, because I currently have so much stock to sort out and put on the website. Whew. Anyway, I'm a one-woman show here, guys. Help me. Anyway, moving along. All right, here's my dining room. So every time I come back to this room, it looks like these plants just keep getting bigger and bigger, which they are. It's just like I look away for 2 weeks and just get so busy with work and life and just responsibilities, and then I come back and bam, everything is like twice as big now. Not that long ago, this Ficus Shiveriana was very pixie, like it was small. It was probably like this tall when I first got it. Ooh, there's a fungus net. I'll give that a bit of a spray later on with some neem oil. It's all good. This Syngonium is taking off. Look at that. It's huge. It's massive. So beautiful. All right, let's try and find some exciting growth happening. Oh, here's my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. It's huge. It's massive. Look, because I cut it back. I actually cut it back not that long ago from here. And then since cutting that, this was about maybe like in the middle, just before winter, and then all of this took off. It is kind of leggy though, which is telling me it's looking for more light or something to climb up, which it has nothing to climb up currently, as you can see here. I think eventually I might give it a pole to climb up. I just don't, you know, plant chores is one of those things that I just have on the back burner most of the time, and I'm just trying to stay on top of my pest prevention and watering, and those are my 2 priorities when it comes to my plants. Everything else is like really need a day set aside just for repotting and repoling stuff and all that. But anyway, here's some new growth on this mini Monstera. Look at that leaf. It's so cute. It's got so many fenestrations. It doesn't have any secondary fenestrations yet, I don't think. Oh, there's one. Secondary fenestration is the one with like the holes in the center of the leaf. And let's see if we can find another one. I know there's another one somewhere. There was another one. Anyway, I can't find it right now. But I cut this one back as well because it was getting too long. Cut it back here, and then all of this shot out. So now it's too long again, so I need to cut it back again. Anyway, propagations is something that I need to get onto. Now that it's spring, I need to cut all my plants back and just make a whole bunch of new cuttings. But again, that's a job for another day. Look at this red vein Maranta. New leaf, new leaf. New leaf there. It's outgrowing this space. I'm gonna have to put it in a better spot eventually so that it gets light all the way around, not just the front of the plant. As you can see there, the back of the plant is kind of suffering. Like, I want to rotate it, but I've just left rotating it for too long now that it's just kind of no going back. But I do need to put this in another spot so that the back of it actually gets some proper light as well. But it's just so much to do. Doing these videos just reminds me on how much I've got to do. Siltepecana still taking off, doing the most. Adansonii. There's a new leaf coming through there. Look at that. So exciting. Alright, so here is an update of my string of hearts. So it's growing up the top there. I've got it down into this bowl here. Eventually I'm going to chop this off and fill up this bowl with the string of hearts. And I don't know if you can see any new growth through there. So the idea here was to wind it around the top of the pot, and any nodes that come in contact with the soil, those will activate and start to fill up a whole life of their own in this pot, and then I can chop it off from the mother plant, and that'll create a whole new pot of string of hearts on its own. It's taking its time. I feel like maybe soon I can cut it off. I don't know yet. Anyway, in time, I'll figure it out. Oh, look, I'm so proud of this Maranta Lucionera. It is taking off. Look at that. That's a new leaf. When I first got it, all the leaves looked like this, like kind of peaked and just like a little bit pale. But all the newer leaves have been coming through with this beautiful black markings in the center of the leaves. And that happened after I started using the Thrive Yates fertilizer. I don't know if that was it or it just matured, but this plant was a lot smaller when I first got it, and I put planted cuttings back into the pot there, and now it's looking a lot more full and lush, which is so exciting. Moving along here. Oh, here's my black velvet alocasia. There's really not a lot happening with it, and I repotted these alocasias into this one pot. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that video. It was one of my first among my first videos, but I bought 3 of these individual plants, and then I repotted all 3 of them together into this one pot, and it is one of my slowest growing plants. I don't know if it is because it is just a slow growing plant, or because I did repot it and just disturbed it, and now it's just taking its time to like find its way in that pot. I don't know, but I generally don't recommend repotting plants soon after you get them. Like, it's not like it's slowed its growth, like it's slow growing, but it's not like it's stunted its growth at all. I still have gotten new leaves from it, but it's just really slow at the moment. So anyway, let's hope that it does something for me coming into the warmer months. But look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Like, video just doesn't do the beauty of this leaf justice at all. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I'm going to pivot and turn to this side of the dining room for a minute here. So this is a Ficus Audrey, and she's doing well. It gets bright indirect light here all day long, and majority of the light that it gets is the morning light, because the sun comes in through this window here. There's some new growth coming through there and there. It did slow down through the winter, that's for sure, but it's kind of slowly coming back to life now that it's spring. This is my Ficus Tineke. I don't know if I've shown it. I've probably shown it a couple times in previous videos, but so what happened here was I accidentally broke this leaf off while this growth point was coming out, and since breaking that leaf off, this has done nothing, absolutely nothing. So I don't know if having that leaf gone just kind of sent this growth point into dormancy. So what I kind of want to do is just pinch that bit off there and see what happens. Like, nothing is already happening as it is, so I don't really have anything to lose if I take that off and nothing else happens, because nothing's already happening. Does that make sense? But I want to make like an Instagram post about it, like an Instagram reel. Pinch that off and see what happens, see if any new growth underneath that is activated and something else shoots through, but we shall see. This ficus is doing really, really well. It gets bright indirect light, and it's still in quite a small pot. When I first got it, it was in a tiny like little 4-inch pot, and I left it in that pot for a long time until it was super duper root bound. The roots were busting out the top and the bottom, and then I repotted it, and I think in the space of the 2 years that I've had it, I've only repotted it 3 times. So it's doing really, really well. That leaf is big. It's kind of stopped now, so I feel like it's not root bound, so I know it doesn't need to be repotted, but it's kind of stopped its growth, so I feel like it needs something. Maybe I just need to reactivate it by pinching that thing off. It was meant to be a new leaf, but it's just kind of died. So I don't know. We shall see what happens with it. Moving along here to my Ficus Shiveriana. Let's see, there's some new growth coming through there. Look at that. And, ooh, it's pregnant. With a new leaf, it's just popping through there. That'll be out in like another week or so. But look at the stunning foliage on this Shiveriana. It is so beautiful. I love it so much. And this tiny little thing down here is just taken off. I always make sure that my plants are multi-planted when I go to purchase indoor plants. This is really tiny when I first got it, but it's taken off now. Look at the base there. Let's look at the base. So there's 3 growth points within this pot, and that's really good. I always try and make sure that I have more, at least 2 growth points in the pot. But look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. I just can't get over how stunning this plant is. I just really enjoy looking at it. So all the rest of the growth that is happening here is all kind of like general growth, nothing like really super duper exciting. There's new leaves coming through on all of them. Maybe not quite new leaves, but new growth points. So with this neon pothos, I pinned all the nodes down on this one. And I'll see if I can find an activated node. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see here, but that is an activated node from pinning them down. Try and get some better lighting here. So that little growth point there happened when I pinned the nodes down. That's what happens. That's going to grow out into a long vine of its own. And eventually, when I can't see the top of the pot anymore, it's all covered in leaves, then I'm going to start letting it vine down the sides of that pot and have a whole new lush pot. And hopefully within another growing season, this will look like my Devil's Ivy. I'll show you guys that one. So this is my Devil's Ivy. It's huge. She's absolutely enormous. But it was already quite, like, kind of full when I first purchased it, but I since planted so many cuttings back into the top of the pot. I pinned nodes down. It's just like so full in there. And now this plant is huge. Like, look how big this is. It's huge. Oh my goodness, I can't get over how stunning she is. And there's a lot of new leaves coming through there as well. Like, I know Devil's Ivy is like such a common plant. It's pretty underrated, I think. I think she's just stunning. Like, I feel like everybody should have a golden pothos, Devil's Ivy. Those leaves are so beautiful. Okay, this Homolomina Selby was quite limp just a few hours before, and I watered it, and now it's starting to perk up again. It's probably one of the most dramatic plants that I own. Literally, like, the most dramatic. Like, it was so limp before. I'll put a photo here of what it looked like just a few hours before. But now it's starting to perk up again. Now, just an example of cutting old leaves off, a mistake I made. So there was an old leaf here, and I cut it off, and I made the mistake of not cutting above like the little bump on the stem. The bump wasn't really super visible, which is why I cut it off fairly low. But my mistake there was I cut off the tip of something of a new growth that was happening there. So as you can see there within that stem, that's a new growth happening. That's a new leaf that was gonna come through. I don't know if it's gonna come through now that I chopped off its tip. But let's hope that it does. So that's just something to keep in mind. I make mistakes too all the time with my plants, and that's one of the mistakes I made. So I just wanted to share that with you so you can learn from my mistakes. Hopefully that still continues to grow. But yeah, Homolomina Selby, there's a new leaf coming through there. So cute. Oh, I love this plant. It's just so dramatic. Like, it's up and down. It's so moody, but the leaves are stunning. I love it. All right, I've taken you guys into my bedroom, aka where the magic happens. I should say magic of sleep, because sleep is pretty magical, I should say. I want to show you guys inside my humidity box. I've updated on this on my Instagram and on Facebook, but I think this is the first time I'm showing this humidity box here on my YouTube channel. So let's have a squiz. So just so you know, there is the window here which gets the morning sun and bright indirect light all day long. It's also sitting on a heat mat, and as soon as I get a consistent week of above 25 degrees here in Australia, it's Celsius, 25 degrees, I'm gonna bring these plants out of the box because I'm missing, like, I want to enjoy them. In the box, they're hidden, and I just had them in this box over the winter to give them a little bit of a boost, give them that, you know, little warmth and hug that they needed. So now that it's spring and the weather is getting warmer and we're getting more consistently sunny days, I'm gonna take them out of the box and bring them out and pop them on the shelf with all the other plant friends. But yeah, so I put them in this box over the winter just to keep them alive, or just give them the little, you know, help that they needed. So since putting it in this box, this gloriosum, this whole leaf has unfurled. Like, this was literally just a little growth point when I put it in the box, and now it's a leaf. Isn't that amazing? I find nature just so fascinating. Okay, I'm doing this one-handed, so just like bear with me. Let's see if there is anything else down in the center there. I think that's a new growth point down there. I think that's a new leaf that's gonna come through eventually. Ooh, I feel something. I feel something. Ooh, yes, look at that. Oh, it's so precious. It's a new leaf. I need to pull it out of this box and maybe like get a cabinet, put it in a cabinet, or just have it out. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fine out of the box. What else have I got in here? This Monstero monkey mask actually does need to come out. It's getting quite large, so it can probably come out soon of the box. I'm just scared to pull it out because I do want a consistently warm day before I pull it out. Otherwise it'll get a bit of acclimation shock to come out of such high humidity into a space that isn't quite so humid as this. So I need to make sure that the days that we have are quite warm before I put it on the shelf with all the other plants. What else have we got in here? I have my red cuprea, alocasia. There is a new growth point coming through in the center right there. This isn't like, there's not much happening with it. It's a little bit of a slow grower for me, but that's okay. We can't all be Syngoniums. But look at that leaf. It's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. This is actually a new leaf as well. This is another red cuprea there, so there's two separate pots there. This leaf is so stunning. I have no words. And look at the back of it. The back of this leaf is a different color. It's so stunning. Like, I have no other words for it. It's beautiful. Let's see if there is any new growth coming through at the base there. All right, so nothing quite presenting itself just yet, but I'm sure in time something will start to emerge from this leaf here, from this stem. All right, let's see. This is a silver dragon alocasia, and there's a new leaf. Ta-da! It's so beautiful. And then there's another new one coming through down there as well. And there's another growth point in the center there as well. Will it focus? Please focus. So this one's actually doing really well in this box. It was kind of struggling before I put it in here, and now it's doing really well. This is a Calathea Rufabarba. I chopped this back several months ago because it had spider mites and it just never really bounced back until I put it in this box. And since then, this is actually doubled in size. It's doing really, really well. I think I might leave it in here for a little bit longer until it's kind of given that little boost up and kind of past the threshold of babyhood into adolescence. And then it might be able to grow on its own without the additional help of the warmth and the humidity. It might do a bit better later on as soon as it gets a little bit bigger, but for now it can live in here. So within this box, like, I don't actually water these plants. A few of these were freshly watered when I first put it in here, and I also put a bowl of water in here to evaporate some of the moisture, and then I took the bowl out and it's since just created its own little atmosphere, just condensation, then going back into the soil, then evaporating, then condensation, and that endless cycle if you know how condensation works. Anyway, this is a Epiphanum pinnatum. green dragon tail, and this did absolutely nothing for me until I put it in this box, and then this happened. Ooh, wait, I'm doing this one-handed. This is really hard. This happened. This all grew in the space of the last month. Like warmth, humidity, plants love them. Plants absolutely love them. So that's doing well. I actually need to repot it out of that peat moss soil mix. It's a little bit compacted now. I mean, it's not even soil, it's just peat moss, and which is why I don't really like I don't like that peat moss. It's just not ideal for like good roots growing. I feel like it suffocates roots, so I definitely need to repot that into some better chunky, airier, more well-draining soil mix, but that'll happen in another video. All my plant chores are piling up. Anyway, here's a red Arrow Syngonium. I pinned the nodes down on this one, and since then a few of those nodes have activated and they're now taking off. So that's really exciting. Like, I didn't want to cut it and propagate because this plant was $50 and I didn't want to risk losing some of those cuttings. So I pinned the nodes down and it's doing really well. There's a leaf there that's dying off that I need to take off, but I am doing this one-handed. So I'll have to do that later on. But this red secret is so beautiful. I'm gonna let it sit in here for a little bit longer and then take it out maybe in a month's time or so. That's a new leaf coming through there though. That is so exciting. I've got a green velvet Syngonium. This one's kind of lanky. This was tiny when I first put it in this box, and now she is taking off. Absolutely taking off. It's still in that peat moss, original peat moss mix. I need to take it out of there. That's another plant job to do for another video. I'll be doing a repotting video soon, so if you guys have any topics you'd like me to talk about in that repotting video, please do leave them in the comments down below. I shall discuss with you. Alright, and in here I also have 2 pots of Synthapsis, silver satin. I think these are silvery ands. They're a lot more paler than the silver satin, like the leaves are a lot more pale and has a lot more silver variegation on there. I find these are quite slow growers, but it's actually doing okay in this box. Again, it's also in that peat moss mix, which I just hate. I don't like that growers use them, but anyway, it's a cheap alternative when they're bulk mass producing indoor plants, but I shall repot it out of there eventually when I get to it. I've got another Synthapsis there as well, which I won't pull out because it's just basically doing the same as the other one, but I just saw there's a new leaf coming through on this stem here. That's so exciting. It's absolutely beautiful. And the last one in this box is this Alocasia. This went dormant over winter, but now since putting it in this box, I have gotten all that brand new leaves. This had about 8 leaves last spring and I chopped it all back, and now it's come out with this. So don't be afraid to chop back your alocasias. They're kind of plants that go dormant over the winter. Just put the pot in a place where it stays warm and don't water it, otherwise it'll rot. And then when spring comes along, give it a bit of a water, and then it will reactivate and shoot all that new growth out. So isn't that beautiful? I'm gonna take some of these plants out of this box eventually and pop them out on the shelf. So I think that's all I've got to update from this box. I want to move along here. So I had someone ask me about my mikins in a video. I forget which video it was, but someone asked me about the mikins that I repotted 4 of them together into this one pot. And it's still taking its own sweet time. I find that I'm kind of struggling with the philodendron, this type of philodendron variety with these thinner stems. Like, I'm struggling with my heartleaf at the moment. This one is kind of not doing that great. My Brazil philodendron is also it's not struggling, but it's just not really being like super crash hot at the moment. But I just feel like these ones take a little bit of time. But there are some new growth points coming through, so that's definitely a positive. It's just the existing leaves at the moment are kind of like struggling. As you can see there's a few markings on there. I found that these leaves don't like getting wet or staying wet for too long, so I've stopped watering it in the shower and just watering it with a watering can like normal people do. But yeah, so that's the update on the heartleaf, on the mikins. I mean, it's doing okay. It's not exactly dying, but it's not exactly like taking off and busting out with new growth like a lot of my other plants are, I feel. But that's okay. It's just taking its time. Everything has its own growth journey, and this mikins certainly does. I feel like in time it will be okay. It's just right now it's a little bit damaged. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, I got these plants on discount because the leaves were damaged and they were not looking the best. So that's what I'm talking about. Like I've talked about in previous videos, my unpopular plant opinions video, I said I don't recommend starting with rescue plants because this happens. Like you end up with plants that just don't really do the most for you. So anyway, that's just the update on that. I'm gonna move on from there. I don't know if you guys remember where I did that video staking Philodendron silver sword cuttings up a moss pole. I was putting all those cuttings together in a pot. I don't know if you guys remember that video. I'll leave it linked up here if I remember. And I don't know if you remember that video, but this is an update. Consider this your update on it. So these markings on the leaves are because I sprayed the plant down with neem oil that I didn't dilute enough, so it kind of grease stained the leaves. Like, that's what happens. It hasn't really killed it, but it's just a little bit more like a grease stain. Imagine when you drip grease on your shirt and you end up with a stain. That's the same as what it did on these leaves. It's kind of slow going, but that's all new growth. That's all new growth there. So it's already attached itself to the pole, which is amazing. That's great. And that's new growth coming through there. So this has taken a while, right? So this took about, I don't remember even when I did that. Maybe like 4 months ago. I think it was at the beginning of winter I did that. So there's new growth coming through there. So beautiful. This is the original leaf on the cutting, and I've since taken off some of the original leaves that were looking a little bit yucky, but I've left most of them so they can still like absorb light for the rest of the plant. Let's see here. Oh, that's a new leaf as well, which is pretty cool. And this cutting here has also attached itself to the pole, which is great. So this is gonna just take some time, but it's doing well so far, so that's really good. I don't know if you remember me talking about this Bovada in a previous plant haul video. I talked about it in my Sugarloaf nursery plant haul video, and I still haven't taken that thing out. I said I was going to, but I haven't. But this is exciting. Look at this new growth. There's a new leaf coming through. Isn't that so cute? And this runner is still taken off, so that's pretty cool. I feel like this plant is a really slow grower, so to get this is pretty exciting. Oh, it's so precious. This Bovada just kind of sits here. I do need to put it in a better spot, but at the moment it's doing well in this window, so I don't know, I might eventually like put it on a hanging macrame thing in the window, which I've got one sitting here empty. I do need to do something about that, but again, my plant chores are piling up and I just need to get onto it. Anyway, that's really beautiful. I love this Hoya. This is also an update on one of the plants that I got from Sugarloaf Nursery. There's a new leaf coming through there, which is super exciting. And there's a new one coming out the bottom there as well. So that's pretty cool. I love when like new plants have new leaves. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of this whole video, isn't it? That one's doing really, really well. I'm really happy about that because I've killed one of these before, but that was really early on in my plant collection journey. But this one's doing great, doing really well. Here's another one of my ficuses. This is my biggest ficus yet. It's a burgundy one, and there's some new growth coming through there. New growth coming through there. Each stem has a new leaf coming through. One there and another one there. This plant is doing so well. It sits in this window all the time and it loves the light. I don't know what I'm gonna do once it outgrows this space. Anyway, I might have to cut it back at some point, but she's just busting out with new growth. It's so exciting. I don't really know if there's much else to update you guys on with the plants here in my bedroom, but these are all just doing the normal amount of new growth come spring. My eye always catches on this Maranta. Look at this. It's so beautiful. There is that new leaf coming up the top there, but the leaves on this are actually quite large. They're bigger than the other Maranta I have, and this plant is smaller. Look at those leaves. It's just stunning. I can't get over how beautiful it is. All right, there's not much else to update you guys on in the bedroom, and I think that kind of completes this video. So that pretty much completes this video, guys. I hope you found this video fun to watch. If anything, I just find it incredibly exciting to walk around and just look at all the brand new growth on my plants, and I wanted to share that joy with you guys. Please do leave those comments down below on anything you'd like me to cover or chat about in a repotting video. So leave those there, and I will be repotting a lot of the plants that you saw in today's video in that video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!